J. Marie Stevenson, and I am the chairperson of the Mashpee Inclusion and Diversity Committee. I guess I would have to say that I care about Mashpee. I've lived here for 20 years, and I have family here. I have grandchildren in the school system. And I think part of my background would affect my thinking. I am a naturalized citizen. I came here as an immigrant when I was 10 years old from England. So I have some real opinions and experiences on what it's like to have a green card and to be different. You know, my experiences and then the age in which I came here and the time that I came here, I ended up being in Massachusetts, but then going south and seeing all the discrimination that existed at that time. That was a time when colored and white drinking fountains and all of that experience kind of stunned me because I was from a different country. So, you know, as I look back, I think that this committee kind of is suited to my interests and my feelings about life and about being in this country. And I'm very grateful to be an American citizen. I feel like I came to get an education and a better life, and I did experience that, and I feel that over the years I've contributed to that, to this country, as I feel most immigrants do. A lot of people don't know about this committee. I have a lot of people that ask me about this, you know, what is this Mashpee Inclusion and Diversity? In the year 2000, there was a committee formed in this town. The selectmen went along with a request from, at that time, the Anti-Defamation League. And they created a program that was nationally advertised or whatever, and it was called No Place for Hate. And so the town, the Board of Selectmen decided to be part of that, and a committee was formed. And at that time, it was called the Affirmative Action and No Place for Hate Committee, because it kind of involved both issues. This was done, and there were many projects done, successful projects in the town, also in the town of Falmouth. And some people may remember there were like No Place for Hate signs in the store windows and that kind of thing. And the schools were very, very involved. And there was a Human Rights Club in Mashpee, and they were very active and had and were involved with the Human Rights Commission and the Human Rights Academy. So there is a lot of history about where you can see some of the projects that they completed. But it seemed like it looks like around 2009 it kind of like faded away. I think it became more difficult to get these projects going, and the Anti-Defamation League actually kind of started to change their initiatives. So unfortunately, it just seemed to to just kind of disappear for a while. And so our town manager, Rodney Collins, put out in the newspaper that he would like to have some volunteers who might be interested in reinstating this committee. And so that's where I came in, and I was one of the initial volunteers with interest in this project. And also at the time, there was a concerned parent who joined me by the name of Kim Morris, and then Joanne Nadeau, who's a retired teacher. And so we sat down, and we sat with Kim Landry, who's the Affirmative Action Director for the town, and Carol Sherman, who's a select woman, and they were kind of like assisting us in seeing which way we wanted to go. And shortly after that, we were joined by Lynn Waterman, who runs the Elder Services, and Gail Wilson, who is Human Services Director. And she also was on the original, one of the original committees, the original committees in 2000. So this was a good addition to that. And then shortly after, we had Alana Doyle and Louis Horner, who volunteered from the community. And we also involved Kay Brown, who was, I call her our member emeritus. She was on the original committee also. So we had a really good beginning to that. And then even with the original committee that started in 2000, and then again this time, the selectmen did designate that within that committee, they did want to have somebody from the Wampanoag tribe, from the school district, and somebody who had been on the committee before. So then we were able to have Winnie Johnson Graham from the tribal council to volunteer. And at that point, I was kind of pushing for a school representative to actually be from the high school student population. And so at that time, we involved Xavier Gonzalez, who's very well known in town right now. He's ready to graduate, and he joined us. Later on, we found, our plan was to have a high school student with us for 2 years, which Xavier started in his junior year. And our plan was to do that. But then we found out as we started to get into the mechanics of a committee that voting members have to be 18. So he wasn't meeting that criteria, although he is now. But we figured that's not going to work legally because we want somebody that enters now. We're looking, but right now, for a present sophomore who will come now that Xavier's graduating and stay with us for 2 years. So in the course of all of this, the selectmen did say that they would like the school board to appoint a representative from the school district. And Patty DeBoer, who we had already had speaking to us as superintendent, said she would like to be the one. So now we have our superintendent of schools on the committee as well. So so there we were, you know, faced with this job, and we're now really into the beginning of the year of 2018. So that sounds good. That's what I was thinking. You know, okay, yeah, we'll just set up a committee. That's fine, but not so fast, because there were all kinds of questions. All right, where are we going to go with this? Will we keep the same title? What's going to be our purpose? What will be our power and our duties? How many voting members will we have? Because you have to have a quorum, you know, all of those things. And who will be represented on the committee? Well, I could just go on. It was just really hard to do, and it took essentially a year to accomplish that, and it's been hard going, but as I like to say, we are here now. So, our new title, and this took a lot of work, and we looked even at a lot of other communities and how they described, you know, what it is that they were going to do. And so, to give you the facts now, where are we now? Well, we have a title, and that's Mashpee Inclusion and Diversity Committee. And somebody on our committee the other day said, gee, you know, well, what's the difference between inclusion and diversity? And we're all kind of, well, yeah, maybe we have to define that a little bit. And Kay Brown, who I like to call our emeritus, you know, she just is a quiet person. All of a sudden she said, well, you know, that's easy. You know, diversity is the state of being. This is what it is. Inclusion involves action. And I thought that's a really good way to help me understand that. So after all this work, you can now find us on the website under committees, the town website under committees, and we have an email address, which is mashpeeidc@gmail.com. Our 9 members, our 9 voting members are listed on the site, as well as our non-voting members. serving as an advisory capacity. Right now, the selectmen appoint somebody from their board each year. So now we have John Cotton, who has replaced Carol Sherman, who obviously is the chair. These members are all listed, and you can find them on the website if there's somebody you know that you would like to talk to. And we have complied, as mentioned, with the board's requirement to have a representative from the Wampanoag tribe, which is Winnie, the school district, Patty DeBar, and an original member of the 2000 committee, which would be Gail Wilson and Kay Brown. And we have a stated purpose that you can read on the website, along with our operating procedures and our powers and our duties. Now, here's this is something that we struggled with which took a little bit of a process. So we are actually appointed by the Board of Selectmen, and so they have like a policy placement that they can do that without us. At first, it looked like we were going to be like I don't know what I'd use the word official, but a town committee that where members are voted on, and kind of like the planning board. And this was going to be rather unwieldy and make it even harder and longer for us to get going. And so this Board of Selectmen can just, say, we would like to have a committee with such and such, and that's the way it is. So it's under their policies. And so basically, we are, answerable. We are a resource, basically, to the Board of Selectmen. And let me just read this to you, because we want to serve as a resource to the town, to the Board of Selectmen, and the public in the areas of diversity, discrimination, and community building. All right, here's a really important thing. We are not an adjudicatory function. We do not have that. So it's not where somebody would call and complain about a particular issue. That is not our purpose. And that's important to say. Here's what we want you to know. We meet at the town hall every second Tuesday at 10 in the morning, and every month. Our agenda is posted. Our minutes are available to the public. So as with any other committee, we follow the open meeting law. People are welcome to observe, what we are doing. I would like to be a little more specific in terms of this will be on the website, but just to give you the purpose statements, which were really, really difficult to come up with. You really have to do a lot of thinking, and that's why it takes a long time to get this committee going when you're meeting once a month. So let me just read you some of the 5 statements, which I think are really important. And that is the first one is to promote, embrace, and support the cultural enrichment of Mashpee's diverse population as an important element of a healthy and vibrant community. It speaks to, what is the diversity in this community, and how do we support each other and gain from the specific cultures that exist here. Secondly, we want to provide a welcoming environment by encouraging cooperation and respect among and by all persons who come in contact with the town, which includes residents, visitors, and persons passing through. This is a really key statement. We want to be a welcoming community, and we have to recognize that we are not just full-time residents here. We are also people that stay here 6 months out of the year. We have people who are traveling through Mashpee. We are people that are staying here on vacation. We have many people, sometimes from foreign countries, who have working visas and come here to work in the summer. So we are in some ways not a static community. So we want to be welcoming to all. The third important thing is that we want to strive to be a community characterized by the values of inclusion. Well, when you start to really think about that, what does that mean? We're talking about integrating, engaging, welcoming all persons. And now listen to this list. This is a long list. race and color, ethnicity, gender, sexual orientation, gender identity, disability, age, religion, creed, ancestry, national origin, military or veteran status, marital status, family status, receipt of public benefits, all of those things come together. All of which can be groups that we might have some maybe unconscious bias against or whatever. We don't know. But we have to recognize that this is what a diverse community is. All right. So what do we want to do? We want to foster civic engagement of all residents with mutual respect for each other and what each one of us can contribute towards our community goal. That's really important, and we all can. And finally, we want to have supporters suggest programs or activities that promote a culture of respect for all people. Yeah. And believe me, that took a lot of work to come up with. So here's the thing. How are we attempting to fulfill these lofty goals? You know, we're really just getting ourselves started after a full year or more. So one of the first things we did was we wanted to, and this came from Louis Horner, who is a member and is a veteran, a very dedicated veteran. And so he came up with the idea that he would like to see a designated parking space for veterans at the town hall, and possibly other town sites in the future. We think that's a good idea. That's including a certain important group. And I would suggest that this is not just for the veterans, but for all of us, because it reminds us when we see this sign that our veterans have served our country, and they have returned to be an integral part of our community, and a thank you for your service goes a long way, so lest we forget. And if you want to see an example of that, look to Botello's, because they have a sign of that nature, and we're talking to the powers that be there as and really a good example. And I noticed it, you know, when I drove up there, all of a sudden I just felt, wow, that's really a good thing. And it made me think about our veterans or our fire department or people that work for us in the community. When you have a group of 9 people and you members, and you're only meeting once a month, we have had to break this up. So we have now subcommittees who are going out on their own and working on a particular project. And it's really, really important to note that these are volunteers. You know, I think that came up somewhere. Well, are you paid to be on these committees? No, these are strictly volunteer people who are giving their time to do this. Okay, so the next initiative, and we have a subcommittee doing that, is we're developing what we call a resource pamphlet that's entitled, right now anyway, Connect with Us. And I've noticed if you go to the town hall, you know, there's a rack there with lots of pamphlets and whatever. So what we're doing is creating a resource of all the things that you can do in this town. The clubs, the organizations, what's going on at the senior center, the library. There's just this wealth of groups, heroes in transition. I mean, volunteer opportunities, anywhere in which you connect with other people, and that's what you need to do. So we're working on that, even though we also have, you know, communicated with the Chamber of Commerce. We're not trying to take their place. They do a wonderful booklet, very complete booklet, but we want something that will be a succinct kind of a document that can be right there at the town hall, and also realtors, if people are moving into town, you know, they will have access to that. And the second piece of that, we're going to do another pamphlet, which will be a resource guide for people from diverse groups, the ones that I've listed. Maybe they need a resource. Maybe they need, you know, what's the Association for Retarded People, or, you know, they need some advice, or they need a resource for their own particular needs. So that will be part 2, another pamphlet. And finally, our last initiative, and these are our teachers and Patty DeBoer, who's working on this too. We're developing a community-wide project where we're going to ask residents or of all ages, either they can write a statement or they can draw a picture of their children. How do they embrace diversity in Mashpee? What are the stories? You know, everybody has a story, and that's what we want to hear. And from that, this is going to be spread out all over the town, in the schools and in the town offices, wherever we find people, and ask them to add to that. And then we will present some of those results at the October town meeting, and hopefully get the high school art students to develop posters that we can have through town that will demonstrate the ways that we in this community are embracing diversity and connecting with each other. So I would say to the people out there in Mashpee, what do you think? You know, does this bring some ideas to you? Do you have any knowledge or experience that you could add and to help us, to advise us? Our committee welcomes your input, and let's share the good in our community and spread the good word, the good news. There's lots of wonderful things going on in Mashpee, and connect with us.